Welcome back to Are You Smarter Than a Libertarian, the only show where we ask big government to take a permanent vacation and see if the free market can do its job without training wheels. I'm your host, Jeff, and today we're diving into the deep end. What happens when we pull the plug on government welfare, Social Security, food stamps, Medicaid, Medicare? Poof, gone. Can voluntary charity and capitalism keep folks afloat? Or do we all just end up eating cat food in a cardboard condo? Let's find out. What if we ended government welfare? So let's play a little imagination game. Poof, Social Security's gone. Bye bye Medicaid. No more food assistance. The safety net has vanished like our paychecks after tax season. Now, before you scream, Jeff, you're a monster! I'm not saying push grandma down the stairs. I'm saying let's look at what that safety net actually does and what it doesn't do. Social Security was supposed to be a retirement savings plan. Instead, it's a Ponzi scheme wearing a necktie. You pay in for 40 years, the government spends it immediately, and you hope future workers keep funding it when you retire. Bold strategy there, Cotton. Medicaid is health insurance for low-income folks, but with all the efficiencies of a DMV crossed with a hospital food court. And food assistance programs like SNAP do help, but they're also infamous for fraud, bureaucracy, and bizarre eligibility rules. Sorry, sir, you're $3 over the income limit because you picked up an extra shift last week. Guess you don't need to eat anymore. In other words, the system is bloated, expensive, and often counterproductive. But what happens if we just shut it down? Pull the plug, done, flatline it. Can private charity and mutual aid step in? Now we enter the world of volunteerism. Can private charity and mutual aid networks pick up the slack? Actually, they used to. Churches, fraternal orders, mutual aid society. These weren't just Sunday potluck clubs. They offered health care, unemployment support, and even life insurance voluntarily, funded by people helping people without an IRS agent in sight. In 1920, over one-third of American men belonged to a mutual aid society. Fast forward to today, and we expect the government to handle everything while GoFundMe becomes our new life insurance providers. Imagine if the money currently sucked into federal programs, trillions, was instead kept in local communities, churches, or nonprofits. We could have more targeted, compassionate, and efficient care. Plus, if your local charity knows you personally, you're less likely to game the system. It's hard to lie about needing help when you're asking your grandma's bridge partner for rent money. Now, is that enough? I'll hold that thought for a moment. Just one moment. Can the free market fill the gaps? If you've been on this channel long enough, you know the answer. Introducing capitalism, now with 30% more innovation and 100% less bureaucracy. The market already solves plenty of problems the government stumbles over. Need food? There's an app for that. Healthcare? There are concierge doctors, subscription clinics, and telehealth exploding in popularity. What if insurance was portable, competitive, and not tied to your job or a government form with 83 questions? What if retirement savings weren't managed by the same folks who lose $500 million on a train line nobody rides? When the government steps back, the market often steps up. We've seen this in microlending, decentralized job platforms, and even crowdfunding for medical costs. Now, should GoFundMe be our national healthcare plan? Of course not. But it provides something. When the system fails, people still find a way to help each other without government orders. It's not perfect, but neither is the current system. At least with markets, you get choices. You don't have to wait 6 months to see a doctor only to be told your symptoms are interesting, but not urgent. The upside: more freedom, lower taxes, and innovation. The last one's important. If we phase out federal welfare programs, what do we gain? That's a valid question to ask for this scenario. We gain more personal responsibility. People get more involved in their own finances, retirement, and healthcare. Like what grown-ups are supposed to do. Lower taxes. Without the 1.5 trillion in welfare spending, we might finally see a paycheck that doesn't feel like a government I owe you. Ooh, that hurts, don't it? More innovation. When the market is free to serve the underserved, new ideas blossom. Think Uber for doctor's visits, Venmo for mutual aid, a retirement fund that doesn't collapse if Congress gets bored. Most importantly, this could reignite a sense of community ownership. Imagine your local area solving its own problems rather than waiting for bureaucrats in DC who think your town is just flyover country. The downside: there's always, and what could go wrong? But hold up, we're not living in a libertarian utopia just yet. There are real risks that I acknowledge, but I think it honestly beats what we have right now. Poverty might increase, especially in the transition phase. Not everyone has a support network. Not every town has a booming economy or Bill Gates funding the food bank. Regional inequality could skyrocket. Beverly Hills might be fine. Rural Arkansas, not so much. Without federal redistribution, wealth gaps might become regional Grand Canyons. Short-term chaos is real. Remember when Blockbuster died and your grandma couldn't find a movie for a year? Now imagine that, but it's healthcare instead of Legally Blonde 2. So yes, removing the state safety net isn't something you do overnight. It takes planning, a culture change, and probably a few thousand awkward Thanksgiving debates, but we've all had those. And now let's put some final thoughts on this so we can get out of here for the day, and I'll be back tomorrow. So, can markets and charities replace government welfare? Maybe not perfectly and not without bumps, but they've done it before. They can do it again if we're willing to stop outsourcing compassion to politicians and start taking care of our own. That's it for today on Are You Smarter Than a Libertarian? If this episode made you think, laugh, or cancel your social security number, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification so you get notified every time a new video is uploaded. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and yes, even iHeart Radio. Catch you tomorrow for part 5, Law, Order, and Justice. Thank you very much for watching. New videos drop every day. My podcast can be found on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and iHeartRadio Podcast. Until next time, stay free, stay informed, and stay accountable.